Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. Welcome to $3 Theater and Harrison Ford, the man among men, the GOAT, greatest of all time. Look, I love this guy. I always have, always will. Raiders of the Lost Ark is my all-time favorite movie. Interestingly enough, though, not my favorite Indiana Jones movie. That actually goes to Temple of Doom. I'm not kidding you. It really is. But the subject of the future of Indiana Jones has recently come up, so I think it is worth talking about. There was an interview Harrison Ford gave with, I believe it was Today or Good Morning America or one of those morning shows, when the question arose, should or who should replace him when the time ultimately comes, or should they continue with the Indiana Jones franchise once Harrison is done playing him for the fifth time in the summer of 2021. And Harrison, well, basically, he said this. He says, Harrison Ford says Indiana Jones dies with him. Sorry, Chris Pratt. And of course, there's a whole video clip to go along with that one, but I don't want to show it because I don't like getting copyright struck. However, the sentiment is one worth discussing. Should Lucasfilm retire Indiana Jones with Harrison Ford when that ultimate time comes, when he leaves this earth? And the question is a big one because there's a lot at play there. For one, there's a lot of mythos surrounding Indiana Jones, from when he was younger to when he was a teen to a young adult to what we've seen and everything else. We know that the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles ran for a couple seasons back in the day, featuring him at two different times in his life as a youngster and then as a young adult. And we know the movies take place between 1936 and 1957, respectively. Wherever this one's going to go, I literally have no idea what time frame they're going to be looking at, probably another 10 years in the future, which is going to put it in the late 1960s. So who knows what Spielberg and Ford are going to bring to the table now that they have like their third writer on the project. So we're going to find out more when that movie comes out. But should anyone else play Indiana Jones going forward? I'm torn. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm honestly torn on this one because a big part of me says no. When this man passes, the torch should not. When this man passes, that should be it. We should have these 5 films, good or bad, and treat them with the respect that they deserve for creating one of the most beloved characters in pop culture history. When Indiana Jones 5 comes out, it will have been 40 years since the release of the first movie. When Harrison Ford was 38 when they shot Raiders. This will give you an idea of how much time has passed. And it dawns on me that next year, I will be the same age that Harrison Ford was when Raiders came out. I'm clearly in nowhere as good a shape, so I got to work on that. But, I mean, like, that's a big thing. 40 years this character will have been in the pop culture lexicon. And should it die with him? It's like Luke Skywalker. Should anyone else play Luke Skywalker? No. Should anyone else play Han Solo, old Han Solo? No. But if they take it back to a younger Indiana Jones, we've seen this before. It's been done before on television with Sean Patrick Flannery playing the younger version of him in Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, and he did a really good job. There's been a lot of people who have suggested that Chris Pratt take over the role, even though in the interview, Harrison Ford said Chris Pine and not Chris Pratt. But I could honestly see Chris Pratt trying to pick up the mantle as well. He could bring about the level of arrogance that is needed for Indiana Jones while also still maintaining some comedic chops. And honestly, as much as I love Chris Pratt, I kind of think Chris Pine would be better served in the role because Pratt would always be Pratt underneath it all. Whereas Pine, I think, could lose himself in the character. But when Harrison Ford passes, I'm going to be a blubbering mess. And I'm not too sure if I'm going to want to see another actor take on the role. Do I want more Indiana Jones content? 100%. Do I want there to be a plethora of good video games like The Fate of Atlantis and The Emperor's Tomb? 100%. Not even to mention the arcade games from back in the day with Temple of Doom. That was a fun arcade game. I would love there to be more Indiana Jones stories that have been told, but in what capacity? Do we do it through a Disney Plus streaming service? Would that kind of be something that would be allowed? Would there not be a massive fan backlash? And I think at the end of the day, provided that the fans actually respond to it positively, we would be willing to maybe look past it. But again, Should it happen? No, I don't think it should. Will it happen is the better question. And that answer is 100% yes. There's literally no way that Lucasfilm is not going to adapt more Indiana Jones. They might go on a bit of a hiatus out of respect for Harrison Ford, but at the end of the day, there is still a lot of demand for the property. It hasn't been milked to death like Star Wars in some aspects, and a lot of people would still get on board if the right actor was chosen and the right people were involved. That's just the way it's going to be. This is business now. Once you get into the category of business, that's where things differ. And like I said, there could be a huge backlash online, people criticizing it to the end, to moon and back, right? It could be completely tearing it apart online up to its release, but people would go see it out of pure and utter curiosity. And if it was good, then the conversation shifts and everything changes and it becomes an entirely different scenario. I don't even want it to get to that point, if I'm being honest with you. As much as I want more Indiana Jones content, I don't quite know how we could get it. I think maybe a video game, finding someone who could emulate Harrison Ford's voice, maybe. Or perhaps, write a script for a video game, have him narrate it right now while he's still spry and young, and then use that. I don't know. I mean, it's going to get to a point where our heroes, and it already has gotten to that point, where some of our heroes start to pass away. And then there comes the question of their legacy. There comes the question of what should happen next. And fans probably don't want it to be touched. Peter Mayhew has passed away, unfortunately. But there's a new actor playing Chewbacca that no one has a problem with. No one told the new actor, Junis, who I cannot pronounce his last name, to not play Chewie in either Solo 2 or any other future Star Wars movies, even though the main actor has passed away. And we associate Chewbacca with Peter Mayhew. We do. I mean, we really, really, really do. Because it's Mayhew behind the, you know that it's him. You know who it is. So we associate that, but no one's saying don't do it. Could we do the same for Indiana Jones? I think with time, 100%. But it will never be the same. They'll never be able to recreate any of the films, any of the magic, any of Harrison Ford will never be able to be remade. But Hollywood's about money. Hollywood's about returns, and Hollywood is about soldiering on. And sometimes they're also about screwing the legacy. It all depends on who's signing the checks. But I'll leave it to you. Your thoughts. Would you look at another person in the role? Could you ever see somebody else in the role? Or should Indiana Jones die with Harrison Ford? Hey, thank you so much for watching the video. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. But if you really want to help the channel, be sure to check out patreon.com/Matt Jarbo. There's $3 theater perks. Lots going to be going on with that, as well as the Facebook group, which is going to be only growing as time goes on. Anyway, thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.